Hey guys! So in this video I'm going to be relocating and redesigning my graveyard area. I was thinking about whether or not I should keep a graveyard area altogether because the current location I have it in is like really awkwardly shaped. It doesn't serve much purpose, but recently I actually cleared out that area over here where I had all those like food stalls, and I thought, no, it doesn't make a really great spot to relocate my graveyard. It's a little bit more symmetrical, and there's a little bit more space to it, so I can do a lot more with it than what I had previously. Plus, I like the whole idea of having a graveyard as well on the island. Like, I like the little, like, spooky kind of, like, I don't know, I think it just looks so, like, it adds character to the whole island, you know what I mean? Like, I have, like, this flowery, like, looks pretty normal, but then out of nowhere you have like a graveyard, and I really like that aesthetic that kind of brings. And I've been trying to like find inspiration from other people's like island videos or just pictures that people post of like their islands and what they've done. And for the most part, I find that it's really difficult to kind of achieve that like spooky vibe, especially from like at least from the exterior portion of the island. Like indoors, I've noticed that people have been able to play around a lot more with like wallpapers and different hanging items and stuff like that. But it like actual exterior design wise of the island itself, I find that there's not a lot of items, and they've definitely got rid of a lot of like the hospital laboratory like mad scientist items that were in the previous games. And I don't know why, because like I don't know if they're just trying to get rid of it because maybe it was like too much for like children or something like that. But a lot of people utilize those items for the previous islands, and even though you couldn't really edit the exterior of the island portion itself, people were still able to use items in different ways to like achieve that really nice like dark spooky energy of their island, and I really enjoy that. So I don't know why they got rid of it for the new game. But on the topic of like horror movies and stuff like that, last night I watched Boxing Helena, which is a movie that came out in like the early 90s. It was more like a psychological thriller, and it was about this woman who I guess would be maybe considered promiscuous of the time, maybe. I don't know. It seems like she had like one semi-committed partner, and then she had a fling with this surgeon, and the surgeon just became so obsessed with her. Like, he didn't even know her for that long, or maybe he knew her beforehand, but in terms of like actual interactions, he hadn't known her for a significant amount of time. But he would essentially stalk her. Like, he'd be in front of her house, he'd be sending her gifts, he'd be trying to like call her, write her little notes and stuff like that. And he got so obsessed with her and invited her to a party at his house. Now, the drawback to me trying to watch this movie was that I couldn't find it on Netflix or anything like that, so I had to watch it in the old YouTube style, like part 1, part 2, and it's like 10-minute clips of each video, but 2 of them were like banned in my country, and one of them got deleted, so I only got like the gist of it. But essentially, like, she gets into a car accident, and then I just remember, like, she basically wakes up in the surgeon's house. The surgeon's not obsessed with her. And this guy also specialized in like amputations, apparently. And yeah, she wakes up in his house missing her legs. And he says, oh, it's because of this car accident, blah, 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 blah. And he essentially just holds her captive in his house. And she still has her arms, but she's in a wheelchair, and she's able to like push herself around, so has a fair amount of mobility. And like people are trying to check in on him, people are trying to call him, and he's just like, don't come to my house, don't plug all the phones, blah blah blah. Has a woman that he's obsessed with as the prisoner. And I can't really tell what happened, but I'm pretty sure Helena, hence Boxing Helena, like she tries to escape constantly. And like I said, I couldn't watch all the clips of the video, so the next one I started, he removed her arms as well. So she was literally, you know what, I might try to find a picture. I'll insert a picture here just so you can try to visualize this. Like, how unsettling is this? Like, could you imagine just like living your life and then out of nowhere, this man that you interacted with, maybe like once or twice in your life, becomes so obsessed with you that he removes your limbs, makes you a prisoner in his home, and makes you so dependent on him that you feel like there's no other option than to be with him. How messed up is that? But, like, luckily in the end, though, we find out that it was just the surgeon's sick dream, and in the end, she's in a hospital bed just after surgery, and she's, chilling with all of her limbs in the hospital bed, but still. Oof. Awful. I think the part that just unsettles me the most about it is that aside from like the extremes of like having your limbs removed by the sociopath keeping you hostage, is that can be like people's realities in a relationship. It's like they feel like they can't get out and they make the person so dependent on them they can't escape. Oof. It's creepy. And a second movie that I actually watched last night was The Collector. Not the original one from the 60s, but the one that was from like the late 2000s. So basically the movie's just about this guy. He's a broke-ass handyman, and he's doing work on a home of family that's fairly well off. And in order to make ends meet, this handyman essentially like steals. And he's under the impression that the family is going away for like a family vacation. So what he does is that later on in the evening, he goes back to the home to try and steal some of the valuables. And he finds out there's still, like, there's someone in the house. And it turns out it's this guy who basically rigged up the whole house in booby traps and is murdering the family in the basement. And the whole time, the dude's just trying to get out of this house with booby trapped so well he can't get back out. And then he's also trying to save the family's youngest daughter from this, like, psychopath that basically murdered a whole family in the basement. And it's not that this movie's even scary, it's just stressful. It's one of those thrillers where you're like, oh god, you gotta get out of the house, oh no, they're coming, and the whole time you're just stressed. So, basically, the dude gets out, saves a little girl, and so, like I mentioned previously, the guy was a handyman, and the family was having a whole bunch of work done on the house. So, he, as well as people from other various professions, were doing work on this house. And it turns out that the guy who broke into the house, booby-trapped it, and pretty much murdered the entire family was the bug exterminator that they had hired, and the handyman had seen earlier that day. And that was like his kick, he would go to the homes that he was working on, plan everything out, and then go and murder the family later on. And just when you think that the handyman escaped because he got taken away by an ambulance, no, the exterminator guy actually hunts him down in the ambulance and kills him. Wild story. And I think the only thing that really freaks me out about that is that I've personally, like in my life, I've had one of the people that come to work on your house, dead ass, steal from us. Like my family. They stole from my family. And it was funny because it was a really big name company. There's two options in like my city to have this particular profession come to your home and do work on it, and it was one of them. And it just freaks me out to this day that this guy came into our house, like he was a duct cleaner, and he cleaned the ducts, stole a stupid amount of jewelry from us. And we didn't know until the police had actually called us a couple weeks later to see if we had our ducts clean and if anything was stolen. Long story short, the dude ended up stealing something like $40,000 worth of jewelry from all the homes he was hitting. And people are trying to claim back their jewelry. This happened to me in roughly 2014. And after the whole case was settled in like 2015, we still haven't been able to get the jewelry back. Ugh. So yeah, I think that's the only thing that kind of hit home for me was like the people are like in your house, man. And if you don't keep an eye on them, who knows what they could be doing? Next thing you know, they could be coming back, trying to booby trap and kill you. Or just steal your jewelry like they did to me. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!